going bananas. And I usually don't make people do that. But if I see that they did it without asking me, and this is in my vague little contract, I will say that's not cool. Next time we need to lay this out. But I usually just kind of go,
It's okay.
Here's your copy, use it for whatever you want. But, honestly, if they make t-shirts, or merchandise or something based on what I wrote, that's different.
Okay.
And it's more important for photographers so they can use their images around with other people.
For sure. Thank you. Glad I finally have clarity on that now. I'll be right back.
Welcome, everyone. I did get notice that Barry is going to be popping in at some point. He is probably going to come in and out. Adam gave me a call this morning. He's not feeling well, and he let me cover the marketing side of things that he's doing. So I think between us all, we'll come up with the answers that you're looking for. Cool. Glad people are popping on right now. It's Friday. Yahoo.
2 more working days till Monday.
Life of an entrepreneur. I'm actually going to take the weekend off. That's it. I got stuff to do.
Yeah, you've got a lot of action in your life right now, don't you?
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of heavy lifting to come. And I don't mean that euphemistically.
Yes. So I bought a house, and I'm gonna start moving in as soon as the electric work is done. So I'm kind of excited about that. Okay, it is 8:30. Good morning, everybody. I wanted to start off by saying this is not the end. There's still more. Of course, we agreed that we would informally meet next Thursday, and I don't think I sent the Zoom link up for that, but I will for sure. I muddied up our chat already, but I wanted to show you something. So this is the Sierra SBDC website, and this is where you probably signed up for your SBDC consulting, where you see the apply now button, and that's where you fill that form out. It's where you can ask for help, one-on-one consulting, and also there's this handy dandy calendar here. So top of the list, this is next Tuesday, small business administration resources and taking your business online. It's 1 hour. All this stuff is free. And yours truly is teaching that. So I'm basically gonna really distill down this whole class into a short time. I think I might even only have 20 minutes in that, so there's some other presenters. And just as a personal side note, this is exciting for me. I do a lot of teaching directly for the Small Business Development Center, but this is like the boss of the Small Business Development Center. This is the SBA, which is the federal agency that funds the Small Business Development Center. So that's cool for me. And then 2 days later, I'm teaching this 2-hour class, which is marketing strategies, attracting customers with content marketing. And basically, this is going to be a lot of the things that Aaron has talked about as far as storytelling, um, uh, communicating what you're all about, getting people interested and drawing them to your site. So I'll spend a couple hours on that and dig into that. I'm really big on doing um, like a content or editorial calendar where you plan out your month with themes and you keep consistent messaging going. So a lot of tips and tricks on that. And then there's just also just all kinds of classes you can sign up for. So I'm a big proponent of continuing education. And let's go to the Sierra Commons website.
Robert, real quick, you were talking about on the 30th doing a catch up for Zoom at 9 a.m. So would we want to change that since that class is at 9?
Wow, good call. I will send an email and follow up on that. I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
Wow. Okay, you stumped me. Well, what do you think? Should we do it on Friday instead? Or Wednesday? Does anyone have any feelings about that?
Either way works for me.
Okay, I'm gonna not make a spot decision here because I want to avoid double booking and then having to. So I apologize for that. And Kelly, you're a lifesaver. Thank you so much. Okay, the Sierra Commons web page, resources. The video has been updated, so we should have all 4 videos up here from the class. And I will, Corey's presentation's up, and I will get Aaron, thank you for sending me yours. There's more work to be done here, but there's, please use this resources page. So basically there's a couple classes to take. And also in the chat, I put a survey, a class survey, which you'll see in that mess. And it's really important for you to fill it out. I'm gonna just post it again so it stands out. You will get an email from the SBDC to say, take this survey. It's one of the big things. And just as a reminder, when you signed up for this class, you agreed to take this survey. It's super important for their ongoing funding, and also super important for us so we get the feedback like more of this, less of that, and so the next time around we can do a better job. Okay. Hey, Barry.
Morning, everyone.
So let's dig into this. So the purpose of today is we've gone through the first 4 days of classes. We've just dumped a ton of information on you. This is a day to circle back and ask questions about anything that has come up since the beginning of class. And also we can spend some time on your specific issue, and I just feel like other people are going to learn from your questions, so that's going to be great. If it's no one has questions, I do have a few other points of content points to add to the mix, and let's just see how it goes. So just feel free to unmute yourself. Any instructor can pop in with their feedback. So let's go.
Okay, I'll jump in.
Great, Shelby.
I do custom pet portraits on Scratchboard. So I don't like to put prices, and maybe other artists feel this way too. I mean, it depends on what they want. It suddenly, like I'll do a scratchboard of a dog. Then somebody wants 5 dogs on the same scratchboard. Well, the prices are much different. It's the time. So how do you not price something on your website? I mean, it's like, for more information, contact me. Or prices vary, call or email, or what do I do?
Barry, I'm surprised you're not just jumping in on this.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to. I didn't know if anyone else wanted to. Hey, Shelby, good to talk to you. I sold the least tangible piece of art in the world for 34 years, a comedy juggling act, and never put a price on a website. The real work to do as an artist is to find loyal fans and detract the wrong ones. And to that end, it's about having a call to action on the webpage, but certainly not a price. And have contact for availability. Are your things one-off? They're all custom made?
Most of them are. I mean, I do other things besides just pets, but the custom is what really sells.
Yeah, of course. It's you can always have a contact form. I mean, for availability. The number one thing is about storytelling, though. It's about finding out why this matters, and you guys got some of that this week, I know. But that's the piece there, and letting people, I always left people with the feeling of, I hope they're available, not I hope I can afford them. And there's a way of wording conversations and stories that Shelby has a certain amount of time each year dedicated to custom portraits. Fill out this information, and then you get into a conversation. And that conversation can certainly be, you have an idea, you find out what they want, what it's for. Let the customer talk. He who talks the most leaves with the product. I said that to you guys on Monday. Letting them really explain to you why it matters, what they want, what they see. And then I don't even give prices. I never gave prices on the phone. I always followed up with a proposal once I understood what they wanted. And this is where it gets weird for artists, but money was never anything more than one of the 4 or 5 bullet points that were following my explanation of what they wanted. The time of delivery, the expectations I heard, what you want your audience to feel. So in your case, it would be, what it was about your pet, what it reflected for you, and then just a cost. It's really nothing more than a light item. And once you get used to doing that, it starts to feel pretty powerful. So stay in that place. Think more about a call to action being to contact, to see, to get on the schedule, or to have a conversation about your particular project. Don't even mention it. Really, people who are on kicking tires are never our customers.
Thank you.
Yeah, and what's the price range for what you do for custom work?
300 to 1,000.
Oh yeah, don't mention price. It's just, I was going to say if it was, lower than that, you can put it on there. But when you start getting into where people are paying that, it's you'll attract customers through the storytelling and through pictures and testimonials. Make sure it's really clear, like what your work is meant to people.
Right. Thank you very much.
Good stuff. You bet.
And just real quick, from a storytelling and a sales point, you can highlight the fact that each of these is crafted for the individual. These are not out of the box things. These are yours and yours only. They're custom, and that's a huge advantage you have. Do you do it from a photograph?
Yes, I do. 100%.
You go and take the photograph, or do they submit it?
No, they submit it.
Okay. Yeah, it's a portrait of their animal, only their animal, that they love, and that's a little nano story to tell.
Much of what I do is animals that have passed away.
Okay.
That's even, that's the really tough one. It's the heartstrings.
I just had my dead cat pop into my head in thoughts of you.
Yeah, something else.
One of the things that comes to mind, not necessarily Shelby, what you're doing because it's a real personal, it's their pet, but there's other artists on here as well. And one of the things that, for me personally, I see tons of art that I love, and I can't buy every piece of art that I love. But the art that I do buy, it's because I was on a trip, and the trip was, I got engaged, or, something momentous in my life that I want to remember. Or I had this incredible connection with the artist. I met the artist. Um, I got that insight into the artwork that I saw it, I liked it, but then they told me the story, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a whole new level to the meaning for me personally. And then it's on my wall. Then I buy it. So getting back to your original question about pricing, I can see how if it was, let's say, $300, there's a lot of market research on people, especially like couples, where if it's above $299, or there's some discretionary spending that they don't need to say, hey, honey, I'm thinking about making this purchase. They just make it and say, honey, look what I bought. And $300 is really pushing that, especially given the fact that, what was it? Most Americans can't handle a $400 surprise bill. They just don't have that. Maybe those aren't your customers, but
Your customers.
yeah. So getting them on the phone, or getting them to interact with you, and it's not about price, it's about your story, or giving them that chance to make that connection that's going to push them over the edge to make the purchase, could be a really smart thing to do. Because if it's $999 and I'm like, oh yeah, that's nice, but I'm not going to spend $1,000 on this artwork, getting them to know you and the story is going to could help them push them over the edge.
I had an interesting thing I've done during this coronavirus is, they're just, the market dried up. And one of the things that I did is, I'm on Twitter. And when somebody who's got a lot of followers, I hate to say that, when their dog has passed away, I've scratched it for them. And I posted on their, a thing to one of their responses. I've gotten more business that way.
That's huge. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
People see what I've done. And I did one for Sherrod Brown, who's the congressman from Ohio, and his wife is Connie Schultz, and she's a best-selling author. And I've gotten 11 jobs off of it.
Yeah, you've done something that's a real gift in marketing, and that's jumped into a wake. It's already moving in that direction. And you get authority by affiliation in that kind of situation too, and that's really powerful. Do more of that.
Yeah.
Do you typically paint the picture of the dog when it was alive? Sorry, that was a morbid joke.
My art club is called, I'm the Dead Dog Society, Dead Poet Society. They said, do your marketplaces, Dead Dog Society. No.
Right.
So Rob, we were all thinking it. Why you had to ask it out loud? It's just really it's another inquiry for another day.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on from there. Anyone else got something? I know I can count on Matt.
Robert, this is Don Ringen.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. Don jumped in before you. Go ahead, Don.
I got a hold of Corey, and he gave me, his assistant Abigail gave me three sites to do exactly what I want to do. So now I just have to figure out which one to use, where it's fully integrated between all the different Amazon, S2C, whatever, and you can do it free for 30 months, 30 products free for the first 30 days. So I'll be contacting him for a little more information, make sure it's what I want.
Wonderful. So as a reminder, Don has sells collectibles, and he wants to integrate with eBay and Amazon and with his website. So Corey is pretty amazing, and so if you got any tech problems, reach out to him for sure. Okay, yeah. So Barry, you're good with that. He's just needed some integration, software integration, some applets. All right, Matt.
Couldn't hear him for some reason.
I'm curious whether Sierra Commons has any resources for graphic design for websites, logo design, and similar tools. Whether it's somebody that you have on staff or somebody that you work with there.
Cool. Well, you are looking at the staff right here.
Hey, Steph.
Staff. This is the staff. The great thing about Sierra Commons is that we do have a nice community with a lot of different people with a lot of different skills. So offline, I'll send you an email with someone that has just been the person I've been referring to a lot lately. Her name is Chelsea Very, Very. A lot of it has to do with style and what style you're looking for, and just with anything with your website, you're trying to decide if it's Shopify or Wix or whatever. Just go to websites. I love that website. I want a website just like that. And hopefully on the bottom, it's like powered by Wix or whatever. Let's say Matt, just I'll take an example. You go to, Kit Dizzy. I love that store. I love their aesthetic. Call them up. Who did your graphic design? That's a good way of finding someone that matches your style. Take it from there. Saul, I cannot hear you, Saul.
Can you hear
Now I can.
me? Okay. Well, for one thing, Saul is my nickname, and somebody picked it up and put it on Zoom, and I have no idea how that happened. My real name is Richard Pell. And so anyway, just to get that straight. And I've been traveling. I'm in an RV in Mount Shasta right now, and I've been losing connection during this whole thing off and on. Is there a way is this ever recorded so that I could hear what I have missed?
Yes, if you just go to, So if you go to the Sierra Commons website, sierracommons.org, Business Igniter, and then in the drop down it says resources. You will find all of the videos for that. And just as a little lesson, as a mini Zoom lesson for everybody, if you look at your thumbnail, your video thumbnail, and you roll over the top right hand corner, you'll see 3 dots. And if you click on that, I'm going to do it to my little blank thing. You'll see something that says Robert Trent or your name, or you'll see your name, and you can change your name there. So I'm going to change one of my names to Dude.
I changed mine to now I'm Saul.
Okay. And
Change it back, everybody.
Yeah. You could have fun with it. That's also if you have a personal account and then you're doing a business call, you might want to change it to your business name, that type of thing.
I had a question in regard to website stuff. I looked into it yesterday, so I just want to clarify. I had originally purchased a domain through Squarespace, and I really have not enjoyed developing my site through it. So I finally checked out Wix last night, which I had avoided because I'm not exactly the most tech savvy human. I've been getting a lot better though. And and everyone just always told me it was a lot more complicated, but honestly I think the interface is way easier and logical in nature. So from what I found, I am able to transfer my domain. It just takes like 7 days or something, and then obviously I have to like pay again, obviously, for the website for the year. But is that accurate information or?
I think 7 days would be a worst case scenario. I think 48
Okay.
hours is kind of what they usually say, and it's, you know, in California or in United States, it's usually pretty close to instant well, within an hour. So, but
Oh,
yeah,
wow. Okay, great.
it will. You know, I think they do that to cover their CYA a little bit.
For sure.
But
Yeah. Another strategy you could do, I don't know if you've pulled the trigger already or not, but you could build something in the free Wix and just mess around with it and make sure you like it, and then then upgrade and pay
Right.
for that. One general word of advice on these platforms, Wix, Squarespace, etc., is for like just speediness, and you don't want to get caught up in like, it's not working. It's not working on mobile, but it looks great on the desktop. All the settings are right. I've done it right, but it's still not showing up right. That happens. One of the ways to avoid that is pick a template you like and don't mess with it. You know, your customers aren't going to care if it's light green or dark green. It's not going to make a difference. You know, I know you want to have a site that you feel comfortable with, that represents yourself, but kind of just as speed to market to get selling. If you just use their template, stick with it, launch it, and then you can start tweaking it. I did use Wix years ago, and I was frustrated about not being able to change the font, or this is italicized and I don't want it italicized. And there was no way for me to undo that. But that was
That's how I felt with Squarespace. I couldn't like change a lot of formatting stuff, and just, yeah, like you were saying, just a lot of it was, I feel like there seems to be more versatility with Wix without having to change a lot. Or maybe I just like their template better. I don't really know.
Yeah. And one of those things about being, so it's a consumer level, these are designed for people like us to be able to make sites, but there is a learning curve. And with anything, the best way to learn is, you know, making mistakes. And, you know, you spend an hour trying to change it from italic to standard font. And guess what? Once you figure it out, you're not going to forget it. The next time around, you're just, oh, that's how I change it. So you do have to earn it a little bit, and each one has their own areas where you have to earn it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Go YouTube.
I was just going to
And
say.
now Adam, right? Adam. Is that right? Yes. Yes. Right?
Adam Trowbridge, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Cool.
will be talking to Adam.
Cool.
Okay.
Katie, you had something? Where'd she go? Yeah, Katie?
Yeah. What do you call Wix and Squarespace? What are they called? I mean, it's a place where you do your, like for instance, I'm so.
Oh, it's a site building platform, a website building platform.
Okay. And for instance, well, number one, I just got applied last night because I missed the first day. So I just sent in my application to be part of this class last night. In it, I showed my 2 websites that I already have that I need to redo. For instance, my domain registration is with GoDaddy and my hosting is with Fat Cow. And those are paid for through 2021 and one's 2024. So now that's there. And then I still go to this, what'd you just call it again? I'm sorry.
A website building platform.
Website builder. so I do yet a third thing, right? So then am I paying all three people? All three, the website builder, the host, the domain? Is that?
I'm not sure how to. Someone may know that. It's not my world.
I'll take a stab at it.
Cool.
For more than I need.
So when you register a domain, you
Okay.
register it with something called a registrar. You are free to choose who you register it with. Name's cheap. I forget what Corey was suggesting. I forget the name of that one. But there's GoDaddy is one of the
Okay, I'm
most.
with GoDaddy.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So that's your registrar, and that's think about that like old school, the white pages. Like you pay for a listing in the white pages, and you're in the white pages, and you own that. That's your address.
Okay.
And then you have a web host, where that's the hard drive somewhere that has all your files and your website on it.
Okay.
And then there's another layer, which is the website building platform. And that is kind of helps you build your website. The website building platform could be all three. It could be two of them. It could be one of them. So typically, the more you pay your website building platform, the more roles it takes. But just like your cell phone number, you own your phone number. If you go from Sprint to Verizon, your number transfers. So you own your domain name as long as you keep on paying for it. You can switch you can switch registrars, you can switch hosting, you could switch where it points to. Okay. And to complicate things even more, you can say, you over here take care of my email, you take care of my website. So it gives you flexibility of the services you use. For simplicity, you might just want to say, if you choose Squarespace or something, just transfer the domain, have them host it.
So then I'm allowed to transfer, no penalties for quitting early or?
I don't know about the contract. If you signed a year contract, they might make you buy out. I don't know.
Anyway, this is more of a one-on-one. Another thing, when we leave today, will I have the names of people that I could possibly send those websites to, and maybe they could just give me advice on which platform would work for me for what I want to do?
Yeah, so you have that already. It's on the Ignitor resources page, and it's called the resources. And there's a section that says Rebound Consultant Team.
Thank you.
And download a PDF.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Sure.
I have a website that's been up for a long time. I'm a jewelry artist and an instructor. And for the most part, my website for the jewelry has just been like a calling card, a place for a gallery for people to see stuff, but I sold in person mostly. I have best luck in person, but that kind of is out the window now. So when this happened, the first thing I did was I have a WordPress site. I put WooCommerce on, and I started putting my jewelry on there just to do something. And then because I also now can't teach, I thought, well, maybe people are going to want to do things at home. And I used to have a retail business, so I thought, okay, I'll start putting supplies on there too, because maybe some of my students will want to buy some things locally and they can do it at home. And then I thought, well, if I can't teach, maybe I'll do videos, have some of them for free for like a content, grab, and then have, more difficult classes as a purchase thing. So my problem is I'm a little scattered. So I don't know quite where to focus. And I don't expect anybody here to tell me, oh, do this or oh, do that. But I kind of want to revamp the way my website looks and some of that storytelling we've been talking about, but I'm having trouble figuring out where to focus because this is a whole new terrain. Before it was working great. The only thing I sold online were my, you could sign up for classes and pay online, and it worked great for that. And it was really a student resource mostly, aside from showing some of my artwork. So, but now it's like, I don't know if I should focus on teaching or on classes or on supplies, so I feel like I'm a little bit all over the place. Does anybody have any advice about figuring out your focus? I'm in too many directions, and I don't know if that's something you guys can help with, but I need some ideas for streamlining. Or is it okay to have a website that has a few different sections? Maybe that's okay. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
Pam, it's Pam, right?
Yeah.
It's Barry. Good to talk to you again. Hope you have a good week. It sounds like a lot's been coming in, and I think that's actually probably a very good place of just letting the ideas wash over you. And I feel like a Friday now, you're thinking, wow, where do I go with this? So which one of those that you just mentioned gives you the most joy? Do you see yourself doing in a year and 3 to 5 years from now?
Oh, that's a good question. Teaching in person.
Right.
So
teaching,
but I think teaching is probably something that I would like to,
Yeah,
I like the interaction.
I hear you. Yeah. And, I think that's really worth looking at. I know I mentioned this to you on oh shoot, let me see. I know I mentioned this to you on Monday.
The classes.
Yeah, on Monday. And let me show you something. This is somebody, I just brought this up, and I want to encourage you to go into the teaching world, to follow that piece of it, because I really see you light up when you talk about that. And to that end, I mentioned someone named Amy Small who does knit collage. To show you, I just did a launch. Oh, can you let me share the screen, Rob? I want to do this, and this will be good for everyone. I want you to look at a book called Launch. It's a book called Launch, and it's really how I think you should probably just read this book right now. I'm a coach for the guy who does that, not to try and sell something here, but it's a short book, and I think it'll take you exactly where you want to go right now. This is someone who I just did a launch debrief with. She has a program called Knit Collage. This is not a website that would take any skill to build. In fact, she's the least technical person in the whole world. But we just did a launch debrief on her launch. This is her launch. $248 program. She sold 1,287, 343K was her launch revenue. And I walked through here and we found all kinds of holes that really this should have been about twice this amount. There's probably never been a better time. And I consider what she does very close to what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
She sends out materials. So there's the retail, she's making money on the yarn and the knitting and stuff.
Right.
It's about building a community though and telling a story, and jump over to this Knit Collage and log into her email address and see what the sequence looks like. I think you'll just find, oh my gosh, there's a parallel right between what I'm doing. But
right.
Teaching is big right now. If there's one thing that's open for business right now, Pam, it's the internet.
Right.
Tony Robbins, well, I was on the backside of his big event. He just did a Zoomzilla. We call them Zoomzillas, these big launches, 22,500 attendees. He was in a 360-degree theater. And the one-day sales on that was over $8 million, and it'll keep coming in for the next few days. But the internet's very open right now. So when you say I want to teach in person, I get that. And right now, I'd say if you could get comfortable affecting people who you'll never meet in person, there's an opportunity here that in a year you should look back and say, this is probably the best thing that ever happened to my business.
Well, then a follow-up question is, one of the things that's been holding me back on that is it takes a long time to do all those classes, online, to make videos. I mean, I did a few 10-minute like tips and techniques things, and it took probably 10 hours just to get 10 minutes of video. So I guess, do you wait until you have a really good curriculum and then launch it all at once, or do you just get some stuff out there?
I'm on chapter 4 of that book I told you to read, Launch. It's a New York Times bestseller. You'll love reading it. I'm chapter 4 of that. My first program online was in 2009. It was a 30-day program. I stayed exactly 24 hours ahead of my students because I did what he teaches in there called a seed launch. And it's just building a small list, making an offer to work with them. So I had 18 people in it. $2,500 course I charged for that time. I stayed one day ahead of them. It was a 30-day course, and I said, I'm going to move your business from where you are right now to the next level. I don't care if you're at fairs. I'm going to move you up to cruise ships. If you're a cruise ship, I'm going to move you up to corporate. And that's what we did. So you can keep your finger on the pulse of people. You don't need to. Jeff Walker's the Jeff Walker, W-A-L-K-E-R guy. You can literally stay a day or two ahead of your customers, but you know, there's some logistics to work out, but I'm telling you, invest the time right now and don't spend 10 hours on a video. Everything, 2009, nothing was available that's available now. It was hard to put video online. I had to talk to a web designer to build a landing page. I had to pay about $260 a month for what they call a merchant and a gateway. 2 things to be able to take credit cards. Those don't, I mean, they exist now, but you'd be crazy to use them. You can get a Stripe account and start taking money for what, 2.2% of the sale or whatever.
Right.
You know, just stay a day ahead of people, 2 days ahead of people. You're the one-eyed person in the land of the blind, you know? So it's about telling a story. It's about building that first necklace or building an heirloom piece using feather that somebody loved who passed away. It's like you have to tell a story like you've learned this week and then make an offer to teach. Lean in, leverage your expertise, what you've done in the world, any credits you have, authority you have. Get 100 people. Follow a plan. You know, grab that Kindle book and just read it today. just get in there and there's no stumbling block now that didn't exist 20 times worse in 2009, and I did it live. And I still teach that class every year. It's the top of my business funnel now. So I can just tell you, there's proof of concept left and right of what you do works. So get out of the confusion whatever it takes to do that, and just commit to a course and put a launch date on the calendar. Literally, like 21 days from today, 3 weeks. Just say I'm going to launch, and that tells you what you have to do every day between now and then. You can do it.
You can still, you know, there's still a way to do one-on-one courses, just using what we're doing now, or do group courses, and you can.
Yeah.
Right here.
I've tried that. Yeah.
Now.
Jewelry is a little bit detailed, so
I understand. It's like
it's a little harder.
But
yeah, I tried that.
If you zoom out, you know, and I don't mean capital Z zoom, I mean little z zoom. Maybe people can zoom out.
Right.
You know, and then they can tell you what their hangups are, what they're running into one-on-one. Again,
or have like meetings that support the video, maybe.
Or just live class. You're in a live class right now, interacting with people. Why not just keep your course schedule going, just virtually? I know that's not optimal. I know it doesn't let everybody get hands-on with each other, but it's what we got right now.
Right.
You know, and
one more thing along the lines of what Mike's saying, because it's excellent. Like I hear you, Pam, stuck in a bit of a technology loop, and I get it. I mean, it's scary. There's something right now called StreamYard, and it's I think about $20 a month. And I know people who are running 6-figure businesses on StreamYard. It allows you to have 2 or 3 cameras, do full production with lower thirds. I mean, you can have a camera sitting right over your head that shows your close-up work. And on your Zoom, you hit F2 and it switches to that camera. I mean, you're basically producing a real show yourself. And it's just a close-up. Then you come back to your face for teaching or for talking or for answering questions. There's a little thing, Rob has it up in the corner since he's the host, but if he hits his thing, it says spotlight video. It'll make him full screen. So he can forge the viewer experience. Look up StreamYard and get 2 cameras. Holy cow. I mean, you can have the same classroom that you teach live and duplicate it for people in New Zealand and in Belgium, you know, and in New York City who you'd never meet.
So one correction, Barry. I'm not the host. I had to give you the host. So if you could Send that back. Aaron, I think you probably have a lot of insight into, I'm doing all of these different things, and how do you want to take a
Yeah,
stab at it?
sure. I mean, I think it's okay to get overwhelmed, and Barry's got a lot of really great ideas. What I would say to the response to that is where do you want to send the people? So if you feel like you're all over the map, is the goal to send them back to your website, or is the goal to build email lists? I've talked to merchants who are like, oh, I want to create a social media presence. And my question is always like, are you trying to get them in the store for your brick and mortar shop? Are you trying to sell a service? Are you trying to get them to your website, to your online? So I would probably go back to that basic question of where is it that you're trying to get these customers to go? And if you are feeling like it's a little too over the map, if you can answer that question, that'll probably help direct you back to either the website or the sign up online for this course that's coming in 21 days.
Cool, thank you, Aaron. I'm going to throw my 2 cents. One, and then Richard's going to go. I see you have a question, Richard. When you said 10 hours for a 10-minute video, I'm like, that should be 10 hours for 10 one-minute videos.
Right.
And what Barry showed and what the knitting person did, really impressive. And I'm pretty sure it's not like sign up for my $300 class, sign up for my $300 class, sign up for my $300 class, sign up for my $300 class. It's probably like, here's a cool tip and trick for knitting, and here's, I am the expert. This is fun. Check, let's build a relationship. Here's helpful tips. I know you. I know what you like. And you do that in small chunks. And then you get them interested in what you're doing, and then they sign up. It's not like, I'm going to build the perfect course. I'm going to spend weeks and weeks and thousands of dollars to build this one video that I'm going to then try to sell. It's not like that. You build it up. You build it up. And people don't watch 10-minute videos off the bat on what you're doing. Maybe they'll do it on YouTube only.
Right. Well, the 10-minute video was me practicing with, I have a camera and my phone, and just trying to figure out how, like, I can build websites, honestly, but I can't do video. I don't know video. I'm learning it. So the StreamYard thing will be good. I'll check that out. And I've just been trying to figure out how to do it. And the 10-minute is a tip and trick, like, hey, here's something you need to know. And that's the kind of content that will be free, so that eventually, they get a feel for me. So I assume that it won't take me that long in the future, but it's a learning curve, so it's intimidating. But I'll look into other things that maybe will make it easier for me. I thought using my phone would be really easy, but it's amazing how many times I have to say the same phrase before it comes out of my mouth right.
So, I'll challenge you, Pam. Do commit to 30 days live. Create a Facebook page and commit to doing a live 30 days. And you think, how am I going to come up with that much idea? Challenge yourself every day to have a little notepad that you carry with you wherever you are, or on your phone. 5 ideas a day of just little mini lessons or segments, experiences, shortcuts, hacks from the top, common mistakes. Just every day, come up with 5, and in 1 week you'll have 25 ideas, and do 30 days live, short live videos. It's going to get you so good at live, you're not going to believe it. And then never edit again. Like, I haven't edited a video I used to edit. I used to do what you're doing. I hear you and my heart just breaks. Everything is live now. Scrappy is the new perfect, and live transparency is the new authority. So I'll challenge you to do that. Create a Facebook page about making jewelry and really get vulnerable, talking there about what it can mean to you, what it can mean to the person, the gifts that come from it. There's a million ideas, but get used to being live. You'll laugh when you hear this replay of you spending 10 hours on a video. You'll go, oh, that's a whole course.
I want to just one thing real quick that it's going to sound like it contradicts Barry, what he just said, but it doesn't. I do a lot of video scripting. Script stuff out, but make sure when you script it out that it's you talking, that it's you live, and think of it as jazz. This is what I keep telling my clients is I give you this script, but whoever you have performing it, let them be them.
Like an outline.
I
What
I would go more structured than that. But you still do it live. I mean, just the very act of writing out the script will create an outline in your head that you can follow. So you have these little checkpoints. And then definitely let it be, then throw it away, let it be you, and, do like Barry said. And Scrappy is awesome.
Scrappy's amazing.
Yeah. Authentic. Everybody has, everything's about authentic. Scrappy is the ultimate authentic. It's like live music versus recorded music. And little bumps in your road are really humanizing, and really identifiable.
Especially in what you're doing. I mean, you're doing something that's handcrafted and authentic and real. And I'm just going to do 2 sentences here that tie together what Mike and I just did that sounded controversial. If I'm ever selling, if I'm ever in a launch and moving people towards a message, I script every word of it. And I have a teleprompter that allows me to look right into the screen and the words go right in front of me. And I'm really good on teleprompter. You'd never know I'm on one or reading. If I'm teaching or if I'm coaching, or if I'm doing lives, 100% 2 or 3 bullet points that I just have on a post-it, like, what do I want to cover? So yeah, in my world, there's a time for live stream and there's a time for scripting.
Sorry, Aaron, let's have Aaron go, and then we should probably move on to some other questions.
I have a feedback on this context in a slightly different one. So for our business, because obviously the modifications for COVID have changed so drastically since we reopened, specifically at the campground, that we've had a lot of success with Instagram Live. Because I have such a large following, it's been really great to have the customers be able to ask the questions in real time as we are able to answer them. And then we've just added all the series of updates to our IGTV because they've gone over 1 minute. On our Instagram, and I've had in real life person conversations with many people that are like, thank you so much for that tutorial. I was able to get some information and tell my family about expectations before we arrived at camp. And we've gotten really great response. My husband was like, what are we doing? Are we just talking to ourselves? And then I come back, hey honey, guess what? In the last 24 hours, 1,200 people watched us go on. So there's definitely an outlet. Obviously, you're not going to get that size of an audience from the get-go, but I agree with what Barry's saying about start and just start talking. And the Instagram Live, they can ask questions in real time, and you can respond and use it as to help you navigate what it is your customers need to know and go from there.
Thank you, Aaron. That was cool. I love that whole exchange.
One thing on that, Rob, if you guys are watching this and you think, oh, this doesn't apply to me, trust me, this applies to you. No matter what business you're in, if you can start connecting with your customers in an authentic way, it is going to change everything. God, congratulations, Aaron. I had no idea you were doing that. So cool.
Yeah, and what talking about being vulnerable, when I looked at Barry's launch diagram of the knitting woman, $350,000, and there was this voice in my head saying, I was like, I can't do that. Oh yeah, well that's her. She can do that, and I don't deserve that, or there's no way I could do that, or I'm not good enough for that, or yeah, but she's got this. She's prettier than me, or she's whatever.
Always.
Yeah, you could do it. You could do that. And I think that a lot of that is the mindset of, right now is the time, and I'm going to do it. And if they can do it, I can do it. So think about that.
Can I add
You're
something?
creating that,
Robert, a friend of mine did some business coaching with Machen McDonald, and they said, how much do you want to make? And he said how much he wanted to make. And then Machen said, add a couple zeros. That simple.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to make money, you guys. And it's okay to ask. You're more valuable than you think you are. Ask people, for money. Ask people for more money. It is the root of all evil, but it also pays the rent. So go for it. Don't be shy about asking for your value. You guys are all super valuable.
Awesome, Mike. Okay, Richard, let's talk about your competition question.
Well, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I've been around Nevada City for about 15 years, and I've tried several of the businesses, including photography, and found out everybody else was a photographer or whatever. So I'm trying something else. I'm learning grant writing, and I work as a volunteer for Scooters Pals to find places for homeless dogs. And anyway, I guess the main question was already asked. What about the competition that a lot of other people want to do the same thing? Is that an addressable question?
Yes, I'm going to let one of the other instructors take a stab at it. Anyone?
I'll take a stab.
Okay, go for it.
You got to be persistent. That's one thing. When you're entrepreneuring, it's scary. So I would definitely say that. And right now you are creating, so, you know, if you continue to pursue the grant writing, you are, by virtue of working with Scooters Pals, becoming an expert in, you know, SPCA type animal rights, animal, you know, rescue grants. You're building an expertise, and, you know, become the brain surgeon, not the general practitioner. And you will begin to get referral business. I found that the more I specialized, the more business I got. I started focusing on product. And then the more business I got, the more I got to expand what I did beyond my specialty, if that makes sense. So I would say focus, and, you know, kind of ride what you love, ride what you're good at, and stick with it. And, you know, be the man, be the expert, and use your website to communicate that.
That's great advice. I think I do the same thing, is that I'm like, oh, how am I going to make a living up here in Nevada City? Well, I'm going to do all these hustles. I'm hustling. I do this and I do that. I do grant writing and I do Sierra Commons and I do this and I do that. And, you know, somehow I just patch it all together and I make it work. It's a lot of work to do that. But when you're presenting yourself in, like, Shelby, I paint pictures of your pet. I'm the best at that. That's what I do. And here's my style, and everyone loves it. And here it is. This is what I do. It's a lot different. If you came to that website and it's like, here's what I do, here's the process, maybe here's how much it costs, maybe not. This is it. This is the business. But if it's, I paint pictures of dogs and trees and houses and this and that and this and that, then it's like, well, is she an expert at painting dogs? I don't know. She's kind of just a painter that's trying to make a living and doing all these different things, especially when you're launching your business and people get hung up all the time. Like, I'm going to have 3 packages, the affordable, the mid-size, and the deluxe. And I need to write all the description of this and write all the description and then take photos and it's 6 months down the road and you still haven't launched. So if you can pick, this is what I do. Matt has a certain insurance he does. Don, you sell baseball cards. You know, there's these, this is what I do. And start with that. Make it easily accessible and clearly define what you offer, and then grow from that. Because your story gets muddied and It's like, well, what is this person trying to do? And I'll just take the cheap one, or I'm not sure what to decide. It's yet another decision. Later, I don't have time for more decisions. This is what I want. Oh, this is what they have? Yes. I can access it. They've clearly described it. I can tell they're good at it. I want it. Click, buy. But if it, please, yeah.
You're really being very helpful. And I've always been able to make money out of town. I'm a gem and mineral dealer, but I'm getting a little old for that. And I'm trading gold and silver right now as we're speaking. And that's really bringing in the cash. But I love I was an English major and a salesman all my life. And I'd like to really use my writing skills. And so you're pretty much saying try to be more specific rather than less. Is that pretty much the gist of this?
Yes. I'm hearing from you. I'm a photographer. I'm a gem and go to gem and mineral shows, and I'm a day trader.
Yeah, all that's true. And two of those three make money.
Right. So, if you put that on a website, I'll take photos of your wedding, your pet, and senior photos. Come to the gem and mineral show. I have this, specialize in this, and day trading silver and gold, precious metals. I'm like, what the heck? Like, who is this guy? That's what you do, and that's fine. I'm not saying don't do those things, especially you got to make a living. The tendency then is to say, I'll do a website for all three of those businesses. Then you're like, oh my God, I can't even manage one website. Now I have to do 3 websites, and you're scattered. So what I suggest is start with one and really hone in on it and do a really good job on it. If you're day trading on the side, then that's what you're doing and that's how you're paying your bills. Fine, you don't need to advertise that to the world. Let's say it's the photography or gem and mineral or whatever it is that you want to do. Focus on it, do it well. And then once that's up and running, maybe you've hired someone to do some of the more mundane things. Copy the whole darn thing and change the pictures and change the titles and whatever, and then you got your whole other website. It's the processes, it's the whole workflow that's so challenging right now. Getting online, it's like a merchant account, oh my gosh, and now I have to import the export from this into my QuickBooks to that, and there's so many moving parts. So just do that, get it down, streamline it, and then work on replicating it. But don't barrage your customers with, and I do this, and I do that, and I do this, and I do that. They'll run.
Great. Thanks for that advice. And I do want to specialize in grant writing and copywriting and probably for animals. And water resource groups have now come to me and asked me if I could help them with writing grants. So it's kind of, getting around thanks to Susan Wallace and Scooter's Pals that I do these things.
Yeah, I would say LinkedIn is going to be your best social media platform. Work that.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
I don't know when I'm going to lose contact with you. This has been intermittent for me because I'm in Mount Shasta traveling.
Okay, well, feel free to email me. I'm a grant writer as well, so any pointers.
Okay, great.
So people seem to like a bio break around this time. So let's do that for a couple minutes, and then we'll come back. I think Matt has a question. You'll be first up. Okay, we'll just wait a few more seconds. Okay, Matt asked a question about LinkedIn, and I will. How many people are familiar with LinkedIn or have a LinkedIn account? Can you just raise your hand? Mike has one. Okay. Some do, some don't, and I'm not seeing a lot of people have their camera off, so I'm going to do a quick. And I'm gonna, this is always risky showing my personal account, but LinkedIn less so because it's all business. But sometimes when I teach social media classes, I'm like, okay, I have to show them my personal like Facebook page. It's unnerving sometimes. So this is my LinkedIn page, and I will say that this page is my view of the page, so I see insights what other people don't. First off, I'm gonna illustrate one thing right away. Right here, Gary Zimmerman.
Hey, Robert, real quick.
Yeah.
You hide your message pop up.
Yeah, well, I'm actually showing something right now, and then I'll hide it. The power of this is this guy Gary Zimmerman. I introduced myself, and he responded. Gary Zimmerman lives locally, and he was like a director at the Federal Reserve, like a super high level director. And I'm like, I don't know this guy, but I want to because of Sierra Commons. And I messaged him. I said, hey, Gary, Robert Trent, Sierra Commons, we're local. I do this and that. Let's be friends. And he said, yes. So now I can directly message this guy about local economic development issues. And that's super powerful. So here's the main profile, my professional type, things I do, short about me that can be expanded into a bigger thing, but the first couple of sentences about you should be attention grabbing. There's a blogging platform. This is a kind of a op-ed piece. Actually, I paid someone to ghostwrite it for me, but that made it to the local paper. I can see that 30 people viewed my profile. I came up in 22 searches, and of my posts, there was 83 views. I don't know in what time period that is. Different activity about people who messaged me. This is my like resume piece, which is Sierra Commons, and I'm a business consultant. I've added media. All this media stuff is super helpful in getting you higher visibility, and just some of my past business stuff, my education. This is me being a DJ back in college. It's a little fun things. My volunteer experience. And this is one of the really powerful things where I can say I'm good at entrepreneurship. And you can see here, 99 people have said, or more have said, yes, Robert is good at entrepreneurship. 71 people, yes, he's good with public relations. So you have your skill set, and then when people visit your profile and they know you, they're like, would you recommend Robert for grant writing? Yes. And so then when I go and tell someone, like, I'd like to write your grant, they come to my LinkedIn profile, which they will. And they say, oh, 100 people say he's a great grant writer. Awesome. This right here is recommendations. So these are really stronger than endorsements. This is people have taken time to say, give me shout outs for this. So there's 33 people that have, recommended me, which is incredibly powerful, especially Matt, if you're doing insurance, that trust is everything. Notice here that I've given 36. and receive 33. So one of the ways that I get recommendations is as opposed to saying, hey, would you mind recommending me? What I do is I go recommend someone without asking, and I recommend them. And then as etiquette, they're like, oh, maybe I'll reciprocate and give him one. So I find it's a much more powerful way of getting recommendations is by giving. And especially like I like to, and it's more than ego. I'm trying to build up my credibility. And so sometimes it's clients I work with, but sometimes I'm trying to give a good example, which I'm actually not finding, but sometimes I would go to like a CEO of a company and recommend them, and then they recommend me, and then I got the CEO give me a recommendation in my field. It's pretty powerful. And then you have interests, and let's say remote workers on LinkedIn. There's 53,000 members. If I go here, it's like a discussion forum. And then if I chose to really embed myself in this community, I would start hanging out here, answering people's questions, and then I become the expert in the field because of all the remote workers. I'm providing great information, and I bubble to the top, and then I become the expert in that. And then when people are looking for experts in remote workers, they'll contact me. So that's a powerful thing. I wanted to see one other thing. You can message people. You can see how many people have visited my page. You can see who's looked at my profile, all that stuff. So that's LinkedIn. It's the place for business. And there's some statistic about LinkedIn generating, I would say like 70 times more leads than Facebook as far as business leads. Like business to business is where it's happening. So maybe 70 is an overestimation, but it's huge. Any questions about LinkedIn?
I just want to say one thing about LinkedIn in terms of looking at contacts and companies you want to work with. It's a great way to find the decision maker. It's, you know, if I want to work for a brand and I don't know who the creative director is, I go to that brand's page on LinkedIn. They have business pages. So also create a business page and find out who I want to talk to. And then one thing real quick about the recommendations, copy and paste highlights from those and put them on your website. You know, repurpose and, you know, share the love that you get.
I have something to add in the land of LinkedIn in the content creation department, as both of my websites, the blogs are on WordPress, and I have just set my sharing of those blog posts to my LinkedIn profile. It's automatic. I don't have to think about it. And so even though LinkedIn is not where I spend a lot of time, I do look like I'm quite active because those posts go automatically to my feed whenever I publish a blog post. So if you do create content in a platform like that, just know that you can set that up to be automated, and it'll certainly let you look like you're active, be an expert in your field, and give an opportunity for people to find that content that might not have seen it otherwise.
Cool. Hey, Aaron, would you mind just spending a couple seconds on like Hootsuite or something like that? Do you have experience with those
I have
platforms?
not used Hootsuite, but I'm familiar with it. Robert's asking about scheduling applications that you can do for content. I think it's important if you are having, like Pam's, feeling like you're all over the map, to note that you can put them all into one strategic place and schedule them all out. Let's say you decide you just want to do Facebook, you can schedule all your posts out for Facebook. And then let's say you decide you want to do Instagram, you can schedule Instagram, and you can link your Instagram and your Facebook so they automatically go from one to the other. That's the case pretty much across the board in terms of different platforms. So if you're feeling like you have to create one content and then share it on 5 different platforms, you can make your life easier. I do like to remind people that depending on what platform you're using, they don't always translate seamlessly. So if you have a tag on one and you haven't set up your business account on the other with the same profile, it might require editing it so that it doesn't go nowhere. So it is important to do a little bit of due diligence before you put it all on autopilot. I have a problem with my Pinterest pins that I can send to Twitter, and if I make the captions too long, then they cut off. So it does require doing a little bit of homework on that. But if you're overwhelmed, my recommendation is to do a little bit of homework on auto scheduling things out.
Thank you. Good. Anyone else have a question? Gail, go for it.
This refers back to concentrating on one area. So I've been talking about my color work, but I've had a business for 25 years reproducing historical photos. So I've had that website going. I have several questions about that. One is, my main focus is my color work, but I have a large following from my old photos. Photographs of Old America is the website. And I'm just wondering, first of all, the old photo website was established 20 years ago. I paid someone $3,000 at the time, and it uses old technology, something called cold fusion, which people roll their eyes when they hear it. And so even though I pay them, I own the website, I want to get it out of their hands. And I don't know how to, I show it to people and they say, I don't want to touch it. So I have that question. And the other is, can I combine my 2 photo businesses in some way? Because we were doing shows for 25, 30 years and people know us. I mean, they watched my daughter grow up, and I want to transfer some of that mailing list and some of my connections to my old photos, and don't know whether I can have one website with 2 focuses, or should I just keep them completely separate?
Yeah, I'm feeling like they should be, there's a couple things there. Feeling like they should be separate. If the, like, historic photos and, you know, let's say modern photos or modern, it seems like a different audience. They might not care, one might not care about the other. As far as transferring your website to a different platform is probably a good idea, and it might be a little painful. What's the name of the website again?
PhotosofOldAmerica.com.
Okay, I'll take a look at that. So yeah, I mean, it's an old site, and you're probably if whoever's managing it right now goes away, then you might have a hard time resurrecting it. So it's better to modernize it now. And the first thing I would do is make sure you have the domain information and login, the hosting information and login. Ask them for a complete backup of the site with all images.
Okay.
But you own that. You own that. And, you know, if it just disappears, you're in trouble. It's gone.
There's no way I can just en masse transfer the whole thing to something else without building it from scratch.
Probably not. Yeah.
And also,
that would be a good question to ask Corey, by the way.
I've been paying for SS, a secure certificate to them every year. I think it's like $150. And if I went to a site like a WordPress, I know if you're on the template sites, they do the certificate for you, I think. But if you do a WordPress site, you have to pay that every year.
Yeah, that information is changing, or has changed since I was, expert at it. But there's a couple levels of secure certificates. You really need it. It's what makes the little lock. You see a lock on the
right.
Where the URL is in your browser. It sounds like you're paying too much, and it might be one of the benefits of moving to a different platform.
And I have one other question. I'm not on social media a lot. And so if I dive into either for my photographs, Facebook or Instagram, which do you think would be a better platform for someone who doesn't pay a lot of attention to it?
Aaron, you want to take that? Oh, is Aaron take off?
Aaron had to bail.
Okay.
But remember what she said, like Instagram and Facebook integrate. So you can set it up so you post an Instagram post and it rolls, they're the same company. So it will roll over to Facebook.
So when people follow you on Instagram, do you have to follow them back? Is there this etiquette that you have to pay attention to?
Yeah, you have to pay attention to it. It's social media. You have to be social.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no autopilot. So really, when people post things, that is not the end game. The end game is to get them to communicate and interact. It's called engagement. And just like how we were talking earlier about artists and not having prices and getting them to call because it's about their experience with the creator. In social media, it's the same thing. It's, so what if you have a cool picture up there? It's about, hey, where was that photo taken? Oh my gosh, I think my uncle worked on that project. Oh yeah, want to buy a print? That might be your uncle. You're interacting with them, and that's where you translate. That's where all your effort that you've put into the social media starts to pay off. So if you take them to this point and then just were like, oh, I didn't respond to you, then all your effort is wasted.
Okay.
Yeah, in a way, it's like the effort goes into the social media, and then the website is just where they buy things and you make it easy for them to buy. The website could be interactive, but it's more of, here's the picture, here's the details, here's the shipping instructions, buy.
And the bottom line to my other question is just to keep those businesses separate.
Explain to me the other business. So I got the historic one. What's the other one?
My original photos, my color photos.
Yeah, they're separate.
Okay. Okay.
Anyone want to throw in a different point of view that counter that assumption that they should be different?
I don't want to counter it, but I'm wondering, since she's the same artist for both sites, would it be inappropriate to maybe in the About page or some other place link, so they cross-link in case they just appreciate her as an artist, or does that seem like a good idea?
I was going to mention the same thing, like doing backlinks to each page.
The what?
Pretty much exactly what she said. I was going to suggest the same thing. You could link your two pages so there'd be like a connection from one to the other so that people could easily swap between them or have them backlink to one another, which is technical, and I'm still honestly learning exactly what it means, but pretty much it just has a connection between the two pages, and it helps with your visibility.
So if you put see my other photo, a link with a direction to look at my other work, and then a link to the other.
Yeah. Did I get that right, Robert?
Yeah. So technically, there's one of the ways to increase your search engine optimization or search engine marketing is to have my website links to another website, other websites link to mine. If a ton of websites link to Sierra Commons, then Google is like, okay, people are interested in Sierra Commons. If those websites that link to Sierra Commons are all about small businesses and entrepreneurship, then Google's like, okay, this site is really about this, and I'm going to rank them better. I think one difference that Gail is that one is original artwork and one is archival. Like, you didn't take the picture of the Cliff House from 1903.
Right.
That's not your photo. The other one is your photo. So I really feel they're different. And maybe in the about page, about you, Gail also has an interest in archival photos, and here's her website there, but I wouldn't put it on the homepage.
Okay. I was just trying for like 2,000 people on the mailing list for the old photos. So I just wanted to make use for them.
Yeah, so there, I'm not a lawyer. This is the I'm not a lawyer statement. There are very strict laws about email marketing. And I'm under the impression that if you have an existing business relationship with people, you're allowed to email them once, as long as you provide a way for them to unsubscribe. So if you use MailChimp, for example, and you set it up and they make you have it so people can unsubscribe easily, you could take your list from the archival and put it into your list of fine art and send it to them. Interested in fine art photography, or whatever your pitch is, and you can send that to them. Some of them will unsubscribe, and that's just what's going to happen.
But if they don't unsubscribe, I can do it again.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. Okay, Stormy is asking the difference between Sierra Commons and the Sierra Small Business Development Center. Sierra Commons is a standalone nonprofit founded in 2009. We serve the local small business community, and we really are working towards economic resiliency for Western Nevada County. We do that in several ways. One is this right here. We do business education. That's what we do. We educate small businesses so they can start up and start businesses that meet the needs of our community. We also provide one-to-one mentoring. So people can say, I need help with this, I need help with that. And then we have several mentors that are willing to give their time to help small businesses. And we also have a co-working facility, which is a shared office environment. We're in the Seven Hills Business District. And if people need a desk to work at, it's month to month. We have fast internet. We have all this business infrastructure. So if you're starting a business, you don't have to go downtown or go to some industrial park and sign a year lease and get your own internet and get your own phone and get your own printer and get your own all that. It's just instant on office. month to month. And what I like to think is kind of the icing on the cake is a cool business community where there's different members here, there's camaraderie, there's peer mentoring. A lot of people have focus when they come and co-work here. So with this, the Small Business Development Center, our local chapter is in Truckee, and it covers like a 5-county radius in rural Nevada County. I mean, rural Northern Sierra, including Placer County, Sierra County, Nevada County. Frankly, I don't know all the counties. So they are funded, they are a government organization. So it goes from the US Department of Interior as the Small Business Administration. The Small Business Administration has the Small Business Development Center throughout the country. Our local chapter is up in Truckee, the Sierra Small Business Development Center. So Sierra Commons and the Small Business Development Center have a partnership to deliver business education. And also, switching hats, I'm a consultant for the Small Business Development Center, and I provide one-on-one business consulting through the Small Business Development Center, along with some other people in the Sierra Commons family that are local here. So it is a bit convoluted how this works. This Sierra Small Business Development Center is helping fund this class. They're providing people that sign up free one-to-one business consulting. So that's how it works. I hope that's clear as mud on our relationship. But as far as you're concerned, you can come to Sierra Commons virtually or physically and co-work, get business consulting, and take classes. So I hope that helps. I'm going to catch up on some
Just real quick, I'm a huge evangelist for Sierra Commons and what it's done for me, and getting me out of the guest room. You will focus on your job instead of pulling Scotch broom. So if it's something you feel like would help you, come look at it. Says the guy who's sitting in his living room right now. But it puts me on a schedule, it gets me going every day, and it creates a culture of professionalism and get her done.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. And yeah, a good question, like how are we open now? We are able to be open. We are in the right, we take the guidelines very seriously. In the phase of reopening, offices are allowed to be open with appropriate preventative measures. Right now, the co-workers have made an agreement about how we operate safely. There are sanitation stations throughout the facility. The kitchen has, one person in the kitchen at a time. All visitors wear face masks. All residents don't need to wear face masks, but we do keep social distancing. We've increased the amount of professional cleaning that happens here. And we're making all kinds of technology improvements to help with keeping the cooties down. We have a great outdoor area, so seating is available outside. The weather's great when it's raining. That we're going to have to figure out what's going on then. So we have plenty of space available. We have monthly rental. It's $250 a month for a desk, and then we have a day rate, which is $20 for a day. You can just come in and sit outside. We don't typically have the day people use the inside facilities, but they do have access to the kitchen and bathroom. So the Stormy asks about, so does Sierra Commons and SBDC offer free consulting? Right now, it's mostly through the SBDC, but there's certain cases, for example, that the SBDC is not allowed to consult for nonprofits. So I'll step in and do that. And then we also have other, let's say, the SBDC provides seminars for legal aspects, but they don't provide one-to-one business consulting for legal advice. So we do have some lawyers that on a case-by-case basis can help out with business law and give actual legal advice to people. So it's a hybrid. And that's kind of how the inner workings work. Okay, so anyone else have any other business questions about getting their shop online? Katie. You'll have to unmute your, there you go.
I printed out the list of people that we can contact. And I noticed that some of the people who spoke on this, like Corey, et cetera, are not on here. It's just the people on the list that we would contact.
Yes, it was unclear. You know, Corey's in Taipei right now, and he was teaching at the middle of the night when he presented. So I had a little bit of communication issue with him. I didn't want to put him on the list until I got a verbal okay from him that he's willing to do that, and he is willing to do that. So I just haven't updated that list. And Corey's, if you want immediate contact information, watch the video. There's a slide with his contact information. The text that I put in there has his contact information, and I will update the list.
I just wanted to make sure I was looking at the list correctly. Thank you.
Yes, you are. Cool. Is there anything people think we missed in this class that we, next time around we should spend more time on, or less time on?
I think that I was feeling, and I know one other person I've talked to was feeling as well. I thought Corey's presentation on Tuesday was very useful for kind of the meta larger ideas. I would have really loved to see some hands-on modeling of the process of actually launching a website, which probably would have required choosing a platform on your end and just saying, here's the first 10 steps to launching a Wix site, or here's WordPress, whatever version it was. But I do feel like, and I'm going to do this during one-on-one consulting, and I'm sure other people are too, but I still don't feel like I totally have the first 5 steps to getting, I'm going to go to this website and click on this and buy that. I don't have that as solid as I would like. But like I said, the one-on-one consulting option is fantastic, and that'll take care of that, I'm sure.
Great feedback. And everyone's in different stages right now, but I would say regardless of platform, if you haven't chosen a platform, the things you can do is go back to Mike's presentation, look at the outline of how you write those specific pages, whether it's a product or service, get your photos together, get your copy together. You may have pricing that you're going to be putting up there, get your terms of service and your privacy policy. There's so much content to pull together that you're going to use regardless. And so while you're, is it Wix or Shopify or whatever, get that stuff together, because then when you're in the platform and it's like up and it's like, okay, now upload photo, you're like, up. Now I have to stop what I'm doing and go find the photos. It really ruins the flow. If you have all that stuff, then you're just like boom, 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 and you get it going. So there's a lot of legwork you can do now. And I'll look for some good videos. Maybe that's a good way to do it, because YouTube has so many great videos, like the 5 steps of getting online to on Wix. Start selling on Wix in 5 easy steps. And someone has spent hours making their 3-minute video. And hopefully that'll be helpful.
Can I also add, I usually use WordPress, but I've been assisting Artworks Gallery to add a shopping cart to their existing page. And so I had to try a few different things like Shopify or Weebly with Square, you know, and try different things. It's amazing how much information, if you just put in Google, you know, which shopping page is best for blah, or what are the best ones. Like, you have to weed through a lot of stuff, but there's so much information on there, people with forums, and, you know, if anything, you could kind of get a feel. And then when you do your one-on-one consultation, which is probably the most informative, at least you have a foundation of maybe what people out there think about different platforms. Like, we landed on Shopify because I went and looked and saw what people liked or didn't like about different platforms. So, you know, you can just kind of spend an hour Googling stuff and you get a feel for it. And then you come a little bit prepared when it comes to make it, you know, you have questions maybe, or that kind of thing. That's just something that helped me when I had to go into these other platforms besides WordPress, which I'm more familiar with.
Thank you. There was a question about templates, and really that's about how it looks and works. So if you like how it looks, then that's a good template for you. There's some functionality that is built into some templates. So really, you can preview templates and see how they work, and if you like it, or if you see another site that you like and you find out what template they use. It's not always easy to do, but you could even ask the store, like, what template do you use? What platform do you use? And they'll probably answer you. And then try it out. The beauty of the templates is you're like, I want to update, refresh the look and feel of my site. If you stay on the same platform, you can change your template, and most of it translates without having to reformat a lot. Another question I have for you is along the practicality of the, you know, people want to see more hands-on things in this class. In the other Business Igniter classes where it's not like 1 week every day, it's, you know, every Wednesday for 6 weeks, there's homework. So I would say, like, okay, now choose your platform. Okay, now upload your images. Now, you know, you have time to do that. But I was very hesitant to make assignments that are due by 8:30 the next morning. Is that a fair assumption, or would you be open to, all right, now, you know, by tomorrow I want everyone to pick their platform? Is that realistic or not realistic? You're liking that. Shelby, you unmuted yourself. What do you think?
I think that's kind of that's the next step. You know, it's almost like that's week number 2. There's so much stuff right now. You know, we were, you know, bombarded in a good way of all the different ideas. I'm not sure I could have done that this week. Now, if you said there's an advanced class, I might do it, and do it, you know, once a week.
Mm-hmm. And if it was an advanced class, but it would be hard. It'd be harder to do one, like all these different platforms. Like, we could say, okay, today's on merchant accounts, and here's different merchant accounts, but we need to use a specific platform, almost choosing the platform for you. And that, in a way, I'd feel comfortable doing that. But issue there is it would put Sierra Commons in a sticky position, because if the students, it's not one size fits all. And if the students were like, Sierra Commons, I took this class, they told me Shopify was the best platform. My whole business is destroyed because, you know, I wanted to sell internationally. I'm just making this up, but, you know, I wanted to sell internationally and it doesn't do that. It charges too much and whatever. And I'm out of business now because Sierra Commons told me to do Shopify. I mean, that's an extreme example, but I'm hesitant to make that bold of a statement. And yet it would be hard to do an advanced class without digging into one platform.
Well, maybe that's it. Maybe you see how many people really at the end, you know, like the first class in our class, and say, who are you going with? And people say WordPress. You know, then you do a WordPress. But yeah, I get it. I think what you've done is great. It's just we have to get off our butts to do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, it'd be kind of cool to see like a WordPress workshop or like a Wix workshop independently that people could then, you know, come and gravitate towards what they want. That being said, I did come across something yesterday. Have you heard of Kajabi? I guess it's a platform that incorporates like Stripe and PayPal is already integrated, and supposedly you can do a lot of all of your business like within it. And I just came across it yesterday, so I don't really know a lot about it, but I was wondering if anyone had any experience with it.
The name sounds familiar from years ago, so I think that they've been around for a while, which is a good thing. But besides that, I don't have any other insight.
Mike, did you just shake your head? No?
You're muted, Mike.
I was typing something, so. No, I didn't shake my head.
Okay, never mind. All right, I'll look more.
Okay, so I did have a chance to look at my calendar. I think we're going to move it to Wednesday, 9 to 10:30, and I will send out a Zoom for that. Sorry for the confusion. And I think we can talk more about next steps. I believe that we have the capacity to do a next steps class. And I'll talk to the SBDC about that. Yes, 9 to 10:30 next Wednesday. So I love that input, and you know, we can roll up our sleeves and start getting more technical and more practical. I'll probably send out just an email to you if you could all respond and say Wix, WordPress, you know, whatever platform you're using. If I can see some type of pattern, I can focus on that one specific platform.
I wanted to say something.
Sure.
And everyone. And sorry I've been so in and out. I also have kids and I live on a farm, so I'm just like multitasking. But I really appreciated this class because since I worked with the public so much and I'm not able to, I needed to figure out the next steps. And so I actually was going in 3 different directions. And after today, I'm seeing that I need to narrow it down. I have just a smidgen of focus, much more than I had before. So I just really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to the next steps. I think it's awesome. I'd highly recommend it. I also recommended to 2 business owners about your auction to donate goods to that. So I think we should encourage any business owners we know. And my mom's making fabric masks and she makes a lot of other fabric things. So so I'm just going to keep that interaction with people going to try to get your auction docked. Okay, that's it.
Thank you so much, and it's awesome seeing you do your work in your garden during the class. It was I'm glad you kept your camera on, and it was peaceful. So thank you for your participation.
Yeah, my daughter's like, "Why do you have your camera on?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing." So, thank you.
Yeah, Katie.
Is there, you're going to send out a reminder? Jay and I would both like to donate, so
That can be done.
yeah, please do.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm behind the 8 ball on the getting auction items. So, yes. Cool. Anyone else? Well, I guess it's okay if we finish early, right?
I would like to say something. I learned that you can turn off the video and eat breakfast and still be learning. So much I didn't know about Zoom. I've been on these not knowing that I'm sitting here going down every time I want to take a bite. So thanks for that. It was an education.
I know sometimes when I do Zoom meetings with, county supervisors and that type of crew, even if my camera's off, I like put tape over the camera. I'm just like, man, they better not see what I'm doing right now. So, too private. So, yeah.
I just wanted to say it was nice to meet and get to know everyone a little bit. And thanks for all the knowledge and information and stuff. It's been a great class.
Yeah, it has been a great class. And I guess we're not done with each other yet. We're going to try to keep this on. And next Wednesday, let's talk. And then if everyone feels comfortable, I'll reach out to the Igniter, the first class, and see if we can just kind of join forces. And if there's enough momentum to do a weekly meetup, then we can do that. That usually is quite helpful. And depending on the classes and the energy, sometimes it continues for months and months and months and months. And sometimes there's a few meetings and then I start herding cats and then I'm like, I'm not going to herd cats anymore. So it tends to take on a life of its own, but I'd love to see it. It's helpful to me. So that would be great.
I think it would be helpful as it give us a deadline. I need a deadline sometimes.
Yeah, well, I plan on calling everybody on their work statement from yesterday. I took note of everyone's work statement. And so whatever you sent me, you better have it done. Or else.
What about
Someone?
You've had classes just like this in the past. Does everybody feel that they were successful after the class? They were able to do what they hoped to do?
I've been in a copywriting course. Her name's Sarah Turner. It's called Write Your Writer Freedom since February. And we actually have, it's a huge Facebook group and it's been like a huge wealth of like support and knowledge and everything. And just like we're talking about setting up a weekly thing, like I have 2 people that I talk to on a Zoom call like once a week for accountability and everything. And it's been excellent. And just like the network, I think, and the community aspect of it has been like part of what's made it so successful.
You know, the previous e-commerce one was actually not like any other Business Igniter course because it was just, oh my gosh, emergency, get online, brick and mortars, get online. 40 students signed up. Some people were auditing the class. A few people were just was like, you know what, I've done this brick and mortar for 35 years. This is the way I do it. I hate computers. And I'm gonna just not do a store. A few people made that decision. A few people, unfortunately, went out of business. And so out of 40 signups, 16 people went from 0 to online in the duration of the course. That was impressive, and I think those numbers are going to increase too. Mike, could you take over for just a second and entertain people? I have to open the door downstairs. 1 second.
Okay, you guys, I got nothing entertaining. But we can keep asking questions. You can ask questions about me. If you want to ask questions about Sierra Commons, ask away.
How long have you been copywriting?
What's that?
How long have you been copywriting?
I took over all the writing about 2000, 20 years.
Cool.
Mostly the outdoor industry. Everything went fine, Robert. I wrote the names of the bad kids on the chalkboard.
Okay, well, let's wrap this up, folks. We're going to see each other next week. Thank you so much. It's been so awesome, and I'm looking forward to seeing your progress. This is the last video we're going to put up there, and let's check out. Later.